The grid is closing here in 2 seconds. Sessions should be loaded up and we'll get going here in just a moment. If you're ready to rock and roll with us here on the Impact Racing Network, stand by for just another moment here while these racers get sorted. Qualifying is underway. Coverage will begin here in about 2 minutes on the Impact Racing Network. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another IRN Live Public Lobby broadcast here on the Impact Racing Network. Tonight we bring you NASCAR Class A Series action from Charlotte Motor Speedway. In the bottom split public lobby racing, we got a strength of field of 1,411. In hindsight, that's actually not too low of a strength of field when you take it into account what some of these lobbies can get. Strategy is going to be everything: restarts, tire wear, maybe some absolute chaos as we sit in these public lobbies. Charlotte is fast, Charlotte is technical, and these next gen cars do not give drivers much forgiveness once the tires start to wear out. The race is short enough that urgency matters, but long enough that absorbing the tires can lead to a hurtful run. Tonight, our biggest keys to survival are that open lobby chaos, the throttle control, and restart aggression. The first 5 to 10 laps are about staying clean in the bottom split. One early mistake can collect several cars along the way and completely change the event. Looks like qualifying is coming to an end here as we take a look at those positions. Let's see who are leading the way at Charlotte. Here's a look at tonight's qualifying results. In your top 3, get the spotlight here on the left of your screen. We have Dustin Lewis, Trenton Cooper, and Joseph Tate rounding out our top 3, all laying down blistering times, with Dustin Lewis on another level there, almost actually completely a whole tenth of a time faster. That is a lot when you're looking for speed in these last couple tenths. Let's head to the grid as our drivers are set to follow the pace car around here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Dustin Lewis and Trenton Cooper rounding out row 1. Right behind him, you have Joseph Tate and Michael Bustle. Jonathan Galman and Brandon Warlick rounding out row 3. Joan Mincy, Justin Butler rounding out row 4. Sato and Lamb rounding out your top 10 positions there as the cars head around, following the pace car, looking for green action. Continuing to take a look at tonight's drivers lineup here in row 9, Steve Spencer and Maine. You have Ovu and Clemis in rows 10. Row 11, you have Pfeiffer and Moore. Tanner and Tucker. Witz and Moberg. And certainly not least, in row 14, you have Tyrone Mobert. This is a 50-lap sprint here as we wait for the pace car to pull off. And we are officially green here at Charlotte Motor Speedway for this 50-lap showdown in the public lobby. Strength of field 1411. The front of the field, Lewis gets a great start as we look back towards the middle of the front part of the pack here. They are looking to fight for position. Great green flag start here for these racers at Charlotte as they look to just build momentum, get some green laps in with 50 total to go. Drivers are looking to get in a line here. They're really trying to settle in nice and early, looking for momentum. A 12 of Stan Drew temporarily giving up the position there as they look to try to catch Brian Lee in the 2 car in front. Tyler taking that position away from Kilo Bain and Stan Drew there, temporarily holding. A lot of battling still happening here in the middle part of the pack early on. Not quite settled into that line formation like the early part of the pack here. You'll notice as we check in on our leaders here, they are looking for that nice consistency, just running a straight line. They're not battling for positions here. And then when we start to head back into the middle of the pack, we are seeing them finally following suit, it looks like. Gonna get some green lap action here. This is where tire management becomes key at Charlotte. It's really about who knows how to turn the light switch on and off properly. You don't want to just be zapping it here. Want to ease back onto it, nice and easy. The first few laps are always really about just learning what the car is going to give you, especially here in these fixed lobbies. We got smoke, and cars go clashing here at Charlotte. That is going to cause quite the stir here. That's going to reset the field as we take a look at exactly what happened. Quite a few cars got tangled up in that mess. Let's see if we can take a look. Luke Wilt's view here as he's coming in. Not quite getting the look I wanted here. I'm going to find it for us. Where are we getting in? Getting closer. All right, here's the pileup at Charlotte. So many cars involved. It was hard to find. The 14, the 2, the 16, the 21. 21 coming back up, hits the 2, the 16 with nowhere to go, tangled up in that mess. The 12 squeaking by, 22 hitting him right there in the rear, nowhere to go. This was quite the mess. Wow, absolutely wow. Take another look here from another angle. That 22 just swinging his way down, losing control, smacking, heading back up the track, and just takes out his fellow drivers along with him. That will send quite a few drivers to the pits to load up some repairs. We'll see if the other drivers decide to stay out or if they're going to go in and grab some tires. Taking a look down at pit lane, you can see some drivers deciding to head on in. Whether they're getting repairs or swapping out tires is a conversation we will have here in a moment once everyone has a second to come on through. We are 1/5 of the way there in this open lobby showdown. Strength of field of 14-11. Dustin Lewis leading the way. Back to the front of the field. Dustin Lewis, who started in that pole position, still finding his way there as we look to get going into green action once more as the cars form into perfect positions. Taking a look at who's forming the top 10 of those lines on the inside, we have Dustin Lewis, Joseph Tate, Richard Taylor, James Moore, Jeffrey Tanner rounding out our inside line drivers. And then on the outside, we have Cooper, Bustle, Spencer, Clemis, and Uvo rounding out the top 10 there in the 22 car. We will see which line is able to take the momentum away from the other as we go green once the pace car pulls off here at Charlotte. Still plenty of time for this race to change, especially if another caution comes out here. Pace car is off. And we await the green flag drop. And we are green once more at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Lewis getting a great launch. Cooper falling in line right behind him. Bustle leading the way. These cars in the front know exactly what they want to do to get where they got to go. Forming this line, letting them duke it out behind them as they try to pull away with momentum and a clean start. It's always great when the green flag is back in the air. It shakes up this race. You never know what is going to happen as we go 3 wide there. That 10 car of Richard Taylor, who started in 13th, finding his way around in the outside lane. We will see if that is going to cost him tires later, but he is trying to make a move to gain position, battling it out there with the 15 of Tyler Cullen. Tyler Clemis following in right behind John Mincy, looking to see what kind of moves are going to be made here right behind him. They're still battling for position. Looks like we have had quite a few drivers as we look in on the ones who have currently headed down to pit lane to make some repairs. Luke Witt leading the way with 2 minutes and 17 of repairs early on in this Charlotte showdown, currently sitting in 17th position. Tyler Clemis with over a minute of repair, still finding himself in the top 10 positions. We will see if that repairing will pay off as he pushes to try to maybe take away more positions, heading his way up there to a strong finish. Our top 4 drivers, Dustin Lewis, Cooper, Bustle, and Tate, have not stopped yet. They are currently sitting on these same tires. Brandon and Jalen, Mincy, Tucker, all took repairs and had some fresh tires. They're going to have a little bit more tread, a little bit more gas. They're going to be able to stay out on the course a little bit longer than our top 4 current competitors. We'll see if this stays green and that benefits them, as Lewis, Cooper, Bustle, and Tate will look for an early pit strategy. The cars are looking stable for the moment, but as we know, Charlotte has a way. It just has a way of wearing down those tires if you are not careful. And these drivers are looking to push it right here. Can he make a move on the outside in that 25? That's Martin Tucker looking to push his way around, temporarily getting the position over Steve Spencer with the 24th position start, finding himself in a top 10 spot. Great positional movement from him in that Cheetos car, sitting in 25th. They're going to look back in with our leader, having no problems at all. Started himself in first place with a podium qualifying session, and then he is finding himself taking that pole all the way down, leading the way. 1.4 seconds behind him is Trenton Cooper. No problems at all for our leader, Lewis, as the rest of the field chases him down. Martin Tucker, our biggest mover so far, having started in 24th, finding himself out here in 8th. We have 28 laps to go. We are basically over the middle part of the race, and this is the part where the first few laps of aggression start turning into a long-run reality. The drivers who were smooth early are going to start to benefit now. You can see cars beginning to move around more on corner exit. Charlotte is not just about holding the throttle down. It's about how clearly you can rotate the center and how early you can get back on the power without abusing the rear tires. You cannot light switch around these corners or you are going to just burn through that tread here at Charlotte Motor Speedway, no matter what car you are in. Especially these cup cars. You got to preserve your tires. That is the name of the game. Let's check in on Tyler Cullen, shall we? Tyler Cullen in 11th starting position now, finding himself in 9th, pushing through the 15 car there in the Geico sponsorships, looking to get back with the pack. Some drivers are going to start to gain slowly. Not with one big move, but it's with better exits every lap as they close in on the ones in front of them who have just put a little bit too much tire pressure down on that throttle as they're spinning around these corners here at Charlotte. $50-lap race does sound short, but these tires still can change in balance quite drastically. $23 to go. Our top three, Lewis, Warlick, and Cooper, trying to hold down those positions. Lewis just no problems at all, building quite the gap to anyone behind him there. 3.6 seconds. We have Brandon Lewis trying to chase him down. We will see if the pack behind him is going to end up helping him try to get a little bit closer to our leader there, or if all of them have just put too much down and burned out these tires with 22 still to go at Charlotte. If we remain green, we might see them be in a little bit of trouble here. This is really where we're going to start to see who's been burning their stuff up and who has been conserving. This is when the drivers are going to start pushing a little bit harder if they have anything left there in those tires. Trenton Cooper in the 4 car trying to battle off Martin Tucker and Joseph Tate right behind him, holding position temporarily for the moment. 25 getting the inside line going. Ooh, a little bit of shakiness there from the 4 car as he maintains position. Side-by-side action from them. 25 pulling ahead. That is Martin Tucker. Again, our biggest mover of the day, starting out in 24th position, finding himself currently sitting in 5th, making moves late on in this race here tonight. Our leader's trying to manage that gap. He's doing a great job of it. He can't afford to relax as that pack, if they can get going, they should be able to, in theory, catch him, but he just looks like he's on another level of tire conservation tonight. Battle right there going on for our 3rd position between Michael Bussell and Jalen Pfizer. Six of Jalen Pfizer gaining position temporarily over Michael. Getting in front of him there. Will he concede for the time being, or will he try to battle back for that position? They need to work together, try to gain momentum. Maybe they can get a hold of a few more positions with a few guys right in front of them there. Not too far behind number 2, Brandon Warlick. Check in on the 8 and the 9 position here in our race as they look to maintain. 3 swings in, drop in. Oh, that was a close one, giving him just enough room. 20 being gracious right there off of his throttle, giving him plenty of room. That could have been much nastier than what happened there. See if the outside line gets going here late in this race here. You get the right guys going, you really can start moving here. It will eat up the tires a bit, but it will also make you move. Battle for our 3rd position here between Jalen Pfeiffer and Michael Bussler, battling it out. Jalen temporarily holding that position with a 21st start in his qualifying session, finding himself currently sitting in 3rd, fighting and clawing his way for that last position on the podium, trying to make his way down to victory lane. The caution comes out here at Charlotte. Late race caution as the mess piles up. Question will be, do they come down to the pit road here for 4 tires? Do they gamble on 2? If it's late enough, does somebody just stay out? Do they take the risk for track position as we're in the last quarter of this race? Second caution in this 50-lap push at Charlotte in the A-Class bottom split. Let's see if we can figure out what happened there. Coming down off the wall, just right into him. That is a darn shame. Get a better look at that, shall we? He just comes down and absolutely smacks him. 22 gets sent up to the wall with that bad move and takes 25 out along the way. That is unfortunate, as that will likely end 25 and 22's night here. 25 starting pretty far back in the back of the pack, trying to get a clean race, and unfortunately finds himself in the end wrecking out. That is going to be a tough one there for 25 to swallow, as Martin Tucker takes his car back towards the pits. We'll see if he can get repaired and get back out on here, but my gut feeling is telling me he is going to have to call it a night. That is unfortunate. You know, when you have a night like this here at Charlotte, it really sucks to have someone come out here and just take you on out like that. See if we can get a better view here. Martin Tucker, as he is just a casualty of 22 there. It is unfortunate. George Uvo absolutely shredding through them. George Uvo's night is going to be over. Martin Tucker's night is also going to be over. So our cars make their way around once again, under caution. Number 2, Brian Lee getting the wave around. Luke Witts in the 26 also getting the wave around, getting a lap back here. Two cautions is not terrible for a public lobby grid. I'm telling you what, these races can be anywhere. I've had all sorts of emotions myself racing these. All right, let's see here. What kind of strategies do our drivers have? Take a look here. Looks like basically all of them went in and got tires except for 19. Brian Lee, for some reason, out there with 30 old tires. Everyone else, fresh slate of tires. Quite a few drivers finding themselves in the repair bin. Pace car pulling off. We're getting ready to head back to Greenfield action. Let's see how the field shakes up as Dustin Lee gets a great launch. What a launch there from Dustin Lee in that 8 car. Absolutely fantastic. Jalen Pfeiffer and Brandon Warlick battling behind him for that second position. Michael Bustler rounding out right behind them in that 9 car. They're going to form a line, bailing out on the 6. They'll side by side there between Jalen Pfeiffer and Michael Bustle, as Bustle temporarily takes that 3rd position with 8 to go. We're looking to have a great finish here. This is really where the pressure is going to start to build up for the drivers. We're now inside the final stretch here at Charlotte. Every decision is going to matter. Drivers have spent this race trying to keep it clean, putting themselves in position, and this is the moment that they have done it for. Dustin Lewis in first place, no problems at all, setting a new fastest lap, burning through the tires here. 7 to go. You could be a little bit heavier on that pedal. This is where patience is going to start to go out the window, and we're going to start to see urgency take over for our drivers. Brandon Warlick still battling his way there for that third position. Duking it out with Michael Bussell, finding himself in second for the moment. Dustin Lewis may find himself pulling away as the field behind him continues to battle, and it is going to be hell of a battle from these four as we push to the final 5 laps. Caution! One more time here at Charlotte. We have a late race mess, and that is going to not be our ideal ending there. We are going to have to see what happened as Michael Bussell finds himself with a meatball. Oh no. Eek. And then looks like the 4 gets into the back of the 9 there. Sends the 9 on a spin to the wall. Doing quite a few. Wow. That car just kept spinning. Oh, and then the 15 got pushed out down there as well. Try to take a better look here at the 15 of Michael Bussell. That 9 got absolutely annihilated in the 15 and just takes a bump there from the 4, sending him on his way. Unfortunate. He was trying to slow down there, it looks like, and just got caught up in the action. Your race leader as we head around once more under caution. This is our 3rd caution of 50 laps. Lap 48 of 50. We are going to get a final push here. Dustin Lewis trying to once again get a clean start off the front line here. That start he had in the last, it was absolutely perfect. You honestly couldn't ask for a much better start. Craftsmanship at its finest. Let's take a look at your top 10 drivers as we are pushing around the field here. On the inside line, Dustin Lewis, who started in pole, finding himself still in first place, trying to duke it out on his way. We had a little bit of a shake-up there with Bussell on the inside line. We have Pfeiffer, Tanner, Mimic, and Clemas all holding down those top 5 lines. Warlick in second place will be leading the outside charge, followed by Cooper, Sato, Moore, and Spencer. Which line is going to get the momentum they need to push their car and their partner to victory lane? Cars are in formation here, following the pace car once again. We got to watch turn 1 here. It's very close to the end of the race. Patience is going to get tested very early. Out goes the pace car. Lewis and Warlick looking to take their respective lines down to victory lane as we go green once again. Lewis getting another start, but Warlick saying not today as he closes the gap, not letting Warlick slip out of his line of sight, pushing on Lewis in the 8 car. Jeffrey Tanner holding on to 4th place currently, finding himself in a battle with the 4 car, trying to see if he can maybe get onto the podium. White flag is out. We are moving to the finish line one more time. Lewis having absolutely no problem here. It looks like he is going to take that first place position, not getting much of a push. Warlick and Pfeiffer battling it out. Tanner sliding himself into 4th, looking to push himself into a better position with only a few turns left here in this 50-lap showdown. Brandon pushing away, 20, getting on the outside there, making positions. And we are out of racing as our drivers find themselves at the end of this 50-lap showdown. Well, that was quite the battle we had there. At least it did stay green. That was great to see. A little bit of celebration and burnout wins necessary, and congratulations once again to our winner. Let's go ahead and take a look in at our results one last time here tonight. Once again, in first place, you have Dustin Lewis, who just led from start to finish. He had that pole position, and absolutely no one had anything for him. Jalen Pfeiffer finding himself in second position. Brandon Warlick rounding out our top 3. Tanner, Cooper, Mincy, Saudo, Clemis, Moore, and Spencer all finding themselves respectively in the top 10 here of this bottom showdown in this 14-11 split of strength of field. It was an absolute great race, honestly, if you're asking me. There's only a few cautions here, and absolutely phenomenal racing. We got a little bit of both sides of the token. So, bottom split, public lobby racings are always going to kind of bring you a little bit of everything. And tonight, honestly, delivered on the storylines that we were looking for. We saw drivers have to manage tires. We saw drivers have to survive restarts. We saw them have to work through traffic. And that's the fight that keeps these next-gen cars on the road. Keep an eye on our hard charger there, Jalen Pfeiffer, who got second place, gaining 19 positions, finding himself in the back of the pack at the start, looking in at everyone else from number 2 by the end of the race. Our fastest lap, of course, no one else other than our race winner, Dustin Lewis, who had the pole position from the start in this 3-caution race at Charlotte Motor Speedway. On behalf of everyone here at the Racing Impact Network, thank you so much for joining us tonight. We sure to follow us on Impact Racing Network at Impact Racing Network on YouTube for more live sim racing coverage. We'll love to see you there, and we will catch you next time. Have a great night, everyone, and enjoy your week.